SRH always had a strong bowling attack. Earlier, they were reliant on spin.
Hello, wishing you all a very good evening and welcome to another episode of Straight Bat with Mr. Cricket TV and Gulf News. Unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Anis Sarjan with us today. So the panelists with me are A.K. Satish, sports editor of Gulf News, and Sanjay Makam, a devout fan of RCB who's obviously not a happy man today. Now we all know what transpired and how the match finished. A good, I would say, a good 1 hour before that, and that's why we have logged in early today. I think for a change, since Anis Bhai is not there, I will start with Sanjay and give him the opportunity to let out some steam about what went wrong. I admit that that second over of Jansen was a deadly one, but there should be some resistance somewhere down the order. I mean, that's what shows the team's character. What do you have to say, Sanjay?
See, whatever Shabas played or DK went for a duck. I'm not at all angry on DK because not every time you depend on someone like DK or Shabaz Ahmed. They have been doing it for us for all the 6 matches, and for the 7th match also you expect them to do. That's bad. And for the 7th time you have top order collapsing like anything. No contributions from Virat Kohli, no contributions from Anuj Rawat. Anuj Rawat is like a choice. We don't have any choice. We have to open with him because we don't have an alternate opener. See, the one thing I would like to tell is Faf. Faf, the ball which went for Faf, he was unplayable. He didn't predict the ball would come that way. Even he himself was shocked that he was bowled. We saw him looking back and checking the ball low. I'm bowled. So, but Virat Kohli, in spite of knowing he's having a second slip in the form of Markram, still playing the drive shot for the outswing ball. When will he stop playing the outswing ball? I'm damn not understanding it. That one weakness, I don't know why can't he follow Sachin, that 241 where he didn't leave his weakness and he just left the drive and he played the straight. He played only sensible now. I want this Virat Kohli to bounce back. Today is not only it's actually, if you see in the practical side, it's just 3 losses for the side and we are healthy with 10 points. But when you see it's a 10-team match and it's 4 who is qualifying, NRR plays a huge role and our NRR is hit so badly from +2 to we have slipped to -4. That's the way what we did today. Today it's actual
that's the
disappointment.
That's the most important takeaway. I mean, barring from in an entire season of IPL, I've seen this kind of things happen on 1 or 2 evenings. In fact, at one point of time, I was just wondering that whether, it was a very unhappy coincidence. You will be aware of that. 2017, same day, they fell for, on a rainy evening at the Eden Gardens, they fell 49. for 14. Yeah, against KKR.
23rd April is not a day. 2013, Gale smashed 175, same day. And 2017 we have lowest score 49 and 2022 again we have 68. But this actually tells the players the importance of Virat Kohli in the team. So actually, me being a diehard Virat Kohli fan, not only RCBN but being a diehard, I would like him to get dropped from the team. He should be benched for another 2-3 matches, get some alternative, because we have pretty good batsmen in the form of Rajat Patidar, Mahipal Lomro, who should get a chance. They're young talents. They have to prove themselves. So I would like. It's hard to tell, but I want to see Kohli be dropped for some matches. So even if you take,
I think I'll stop there, Sanjay, for a while. Yes, I think what you are saying is not only an emotional choice. I mean, at some point of time, when you see a batsman like him, the befuddled expression that he doesn't have the answer as to what is going wrong, then taking a break and taking a look from the outsider's point of view is the only solution. Now I'll come to Satish. Before we go to Kohli, I think to give the credit where it's due, we should talk a bit about the the Sunrise, the Orange Army pace attack. Now, what they have done is with this, in these 5 wins, there have been 3 big chases where I think they've won by 8 wickets, 7 wickets like that. And now the pacemen, they've laid down a marker that, here we have the best pace attack, the most best varied pace attack of the 10 teams. And when if we send somebody in, then that's going to be a kind of psychological ploy against the rivals. Satish, how do you analyze the way SRH has galvanized over the last 5 games?
Gautam, SRH always had a strong bowling attack. Earlier, they were reliant on spin with Rashid Khan and co. But of course, the core bowlers were there, like Bhuvneshwar, your Natarajan was there. Of course, Khalil was there at that point of time. But this year, what has happened is Natarajan is fully fit. Bhuvneshwar is okay. He's not in the best of the form. Probably he's the only weak link, you would say. But Umran Malik coming good. He showed a lot of potential last year. But Umran Malik coming good this year and showing what he could do, along with the two international pacers. I think that has made them the team again to beat, basically. The one thing which I see with them is it's going to be extremely difficult for any team to even score 150, 160 on a good wicket where there is some assistance to the bowlers. I'm not even talking about a good assistant. Even a little assistance also could make it extremely difficult. And they are on a high. So it's going to be even more difficult for any other team. And I would like to see, at this point of time, I would like to see how the SRH and Rajasthan Royals, especially the battle is going to go. So I'm quite keen on looking at that at this point of time.
Right. I'll just pick your brains.
And again, I would be not doing justice. Sorry to interrupt. If we don't talk about Kane Williamson, he has done it in the past. He has done with New Zealand. He has done it with many teams. And what he has done this year to Sunrisers is remarkable, because none of us gave them even 5% chance. Like we thought maybe Sunrisers will be at the bottom of the table. But he saw the potential in Abhishek Sharma. He saw the potential in Umran Malik. And he backed them just the way he did to his New Zealand players. And he's probably picked the same team. I think the last 4-5 matches, he's picked the same team. And there has not been any change. And he's backed his players. So hats off to Kane. Again, the wonderful captaincy.
I will just take a cue and go back to the earlier match there with you. I see a common thread. Like if you look at the SRH batting lineup, and if you also look at Gujarat Titans batting lineup, I mean, what was being said initially was that these teams have stronger bowling lineups, but batting looks a bit thin when you compare them with say for example RCB or in fact Lucknow Super Giants. But that giving the specific roles for each guys and backing them, that seems to be playing its part. I mean, for example, David Miller didn't get much today, but after years of kind of being there, sometimes in Punjab Kings, sometimes in some other team, he has got a role to play. And that 80-odd innings that chase, I think, against KKR.
94 not out against
94,
Chennai.
Yes. Chennai, where there was no hope. So it was, such a calculated assault. Same with, possibly Riddhiman Saha. I mean, the way he was keeping today, I could see Saha of yore, and he was very useful with the bat also. The same policy is what, Sunrisers Hyderabad are appointing. I mean, on paper, we kept talking in this show that, whom do they have apart from Puran? But it is only Puran who has kind of underachieved so far. But I will come to you before I go back to Sanjay again, because I know he's an angry man today. Virat Kohli. This is all that I put in your quote. And how do you analyze what's happening, or what is the way out? Is taking a break the way out now? There seems to be no other option.
There is any batsman for that matter, whether be it Sachin Tendulkar or whether be it Virat Kohli, or for that matter even Steve Smith or Joe Root, any batsman, you cannot take a break and come back and start all over again. I think you have to go through the grind. And the one thing which I would also probably agree to what Sanjay is saying, but again today, not today maybe, you need to be more cautious. And I think if you remember when he was given that out in 48, which was actually a very debatable decision. He was quite angry with that because that was a game he was getting his touch back. That confidence he was coming in, a 50, maybe another 10, 15 runs, 60, 70 would have given him much more confidence. But that was not to be. That's why he was quite angry that day. But Gautam, there is no two ways about it. He has to go through the grind. Maybe at best, instead of thinking that I'm Virat Kohli and playing the shot early on, he should play like any normal cricketer, which they will not be able to do. I'm telling you why these players cannot think differently is it comes naturally to them. They are born with this. So that's the reason why they are the world beaters. So it's very difficult for them to adapt something which a common man, maybe, like Cheteshwar Pujara or somebody else would do, because they were all come through the very hard grind. But Kohli, for him, it comes naturally. So he wouldn't be able to do that. But again, like he should think, he should probably change his approach until he gets 15, 20 runs, 30 runs maybe. And then he can play his shots. But sitting out is not going to help in any way. That's my viewpoint.
Right. I'll come to Sanjay. Sanjay, the thing is, if this trend continues, the worrying part here is, on the face of it, yes, it's just a loss, but it's a long tournament. They're still on 10 points. They've just slipped to fourth. And as I keep saying, like we keep seeing this kind of freak games, at least 3-4 games in a season. But yes, the run rate has taken a beating there, which is the valid point. And gradually, there seems to be this tendency or the trend to over depend on Faf. Now, Faf, during his stay in Chennai, he had a Shane Watson with him. He had a Rituraj Gaikwad with him last year, who served the team so well, 600 plus runs. But every innings, you cannot expect him to bat deep and kind of pull the team out of the woods. So, whom do you have as a replacement in mind for Anuj Rawat? I mean, I think that's also another need of the hour.
Yes, but if as Satish sir told, if that game of 48, if Virat Kohli somehow had found his form back in that 48 match, scoring somewhere around 54, 60 runs, that if Virat Kohli was in form, I would perfectly tell open with Virat Kohli, because we know how such aggressive open Virat Kohli was in the years 16, 17 and 18. He slipped to one down back in 19, 20 and occasionally he started opening. So considering he only not being in form, I just can't name Faf to go with Virat Kohli, because as you told, in one more disadvantage is Faf here is captain for us. In CSK, it was Dhoni who was captain, and Faf, he was playing a pure role as a batsman, opening batsman, just with the flow. Ruturaj Gaikwad was giving him some support at the end, beat Shane Watson, scoring good partnerships. Here is a captain, additional pressure, and he has to take the team. When Anuj is not performing, he just can't blame Anuj, like, why are you not going for shots? Why are you just wasting the balls? Instead, he takes time to motivate. That time of motivation, it builds the pressure on him, because it's the score what you want in the power play. In the 6 overs, if someone like Anuj is hitting the balls, it pressure builds on Faf. No, I have to go for a 4. I have to go for a 6 now. So I think I can get my team par 40 or par 50 in the power play. So considering all that in mind, somewhere even any sort of set batsman might get distracted for some ball over there. But for today, what Faf played, it was literally unplayable, I would tell, because it was a clean in-swinger. Faf, the first ball he played, it was an out-swinger. All of a sudden, you get an in-swing ball. He couldn't even defend the ball. So as far as now, I think there is no such opener for us other than
no,
Anuj
but
Rawat.
it won't be a bad idea. Taking a cue from you, it won't be a bad idea to allow Virat to go and go start playing your shots, because first 6 overs there is field restrictions. You play your shots. Sometimes even your edges fly over the wicket keeper. It can go over the infield. It won't be a bad idea for Virat to come in and open. Actually, to be honest, to say shed is out of a bad form.
Yeah,
Another thought to both Satish and Sanjay. I mean, is there any merit in trying to get up DK little up the order? I mean, instead of doing that magic.
At least he settled in that. He settled in that place. So at least like one position is secured. Let's not tamper with it. I would say
even we apart from today's match, we lost 2 matches and we won 5 matches. Out of the 6 matches, you take 4 wins, and out of the 7 matches, you take 5 wins, 8 matches not totally we played. Yeah, I mean 8 matches. Yes, 5 wins and 3 losses. Out of that 7 matches, DK has performed in the same position. He's having striker at around 209, which is good. He's having 15 sixes and he's one among the contender for orange cap. Like, I don't know, he's not in the top 5. He's somewhere in the top 12 or top 13. Being a number
No,
6.
but his average is quite high. I think 2-3 not outs he has had. So I think his average is quite high in the
Only
200.
dismissals is against CSK and today. Out of 8 matches, DK has been dismissed only twice.
It will be interesting to see if DK can eventually make a case for the T20 World Cup, but we'll come to that later. I'll just quickly go to Satish before we go over to our thoughts on tomorrow's game. The KKR Gujarat game. Now, when the KKR bowlers like Saudi was back and when they managed to restrict Gujarat for 156, I thought that KKR can maybe it could be their day of bouncing back after 3 defeats. But what happened was, again, they experimented too much with this team and the batting lineup. Suddenly, you have a completely untested opening lineup in Sam Billings. Sam has opened, but this was the first time he was doing so. And Sunil Narine, left-right combination, fine. Now, what was the reason? And now you've got, obviously, with Venkatesh Iyer, you see a logic. He has been put to number 6. That's the place where he succeeded last time. Now, this kind of, at the slightest hint of trouble, any franchisee who starts tinkering with the opening combination or the team, the playing 11, it doesn't finally yield results. Don't you think so?
The sad part is, Gautam, the KKR had a problem of openers right from the start. That was one place where they were not settled at all. Of course, Shreyas Iyer could come and get some runs. The others were there. Russell was there. Even others were able to get some runs, but openers were completely not able to get. Even when Venkatesh Iyer was as an opener, he was not able to perform. I think it is a worth trying effort, because I think this one thing I would say, this is probably the best lineup I would say they have finally come across. I think they should stick to it, which should yield them in good results. But what I didn't find it is they after seeing the wicket in the last once the ball was old, and when the last 10 overs, how Gujarat was not able to time their shots with the slower ones and the ball sticking and stopping and coming to the bat. I think KKR batters should have played more of a different game, like a rotating the strikes and a more cautious approach than trying to play the same shots. Either like you defend or you try to hit a spin. When you can't do that, you have to try to get the singles. You have to try to play the traditional one-day game kind of run scoring, where you don't make the asking rate go quite higher to when you chase. So it was purely because of the wicket. I would say the Gujarat bowlers bowled at the right areas and they were able to get the assistance from the wicket. Other than that, I don't see much of a problem. Yes, I was quite disappointed with Shreyas Iyer as a captain. I had a lot of hopes with him, but it seems that given the slightest hint, for example, when Venkatesh Iyer stepped onto the ropes after jumping for a catch, he was showing frustration. Last match again against Rajasthan Royals, when they were actually going good, he shouted at Venkatesh Iyer, and next ball he was out stumped. And then the subsequent the same over, he was also out because he lost his cool, and which ended in a hat-trick for Chahal. I think as a captain, he needs to be a bit more mature and he needs to think better. But yes, of course, if you look at it, a captain performing, as I think last 2 years, it was not happening because DK was a failure as a captain who couldn't perform. And last year also, Owen Morgan as a captain, he couldn't perform. That way, Shreyas Iyer is able to do that, but he could do better than what he has done.
Right. Okay, now tomorrow, despite it being a Sunday, it's got a single game. We have got Mumbai Indians versus Lucknow Super Giants. So, Sanjay, do you think that Mumbai can finally log that 2 points, or it is still a far stretch of imagination? What do you say?
No, it was literally sad after seeing Mumbai losing against CSK, because Mumbai almost pulled off the victory. Until there was a special innings by MS who brought in the 2009 19 vibes back again, smashing 18 runs. Actually, to just give a glimpse of the previous game, Bumrah had it under the control, 19th over. He just gave some 7 or 8 runs, and he gave the ball to Unadkat, and Unadkat couldn't resist of getting runs. He leaked so much runs. But tomorrow, I think LSG, considering LSG's batting lineup, it's really power packed. But Rahul as a captain hasn't succeeded. Even though LSG has 4 wins on the board, I think Rahul as a captain hasn't succeeded. Even as a player, he started well, but he started well here and there. Yes, there is some drawback. Unless he utilizes Stoinis in the proper position, I think LSG can't find their victory, because Stoinis is not such a batsman to bat down the order, 5 down, 6 down. And in the one match we saw against, I forgot the team. They needed some 34 odd runs, and he sent Stoinis at 8 or 7.
Rajasthan, I think.
That wasn't the right decision. So using the Stoinis position is good. Well, he should use. I think Mumbai can jump off to a victory tomorrow, because they're hurt very much, because they have created some history which RCB didn't even create. We had some 6-6 losses, and they just wanted to break our record. I took it to 7-7.
Yeah, see, because they've got nothing to lose, and it'll be interesting to see that if they can, have that some kind of a turnaround to spice up things at the lower half of the table. Otherwise, it's really sad to see these two, great teams languishing down there. Satish, a quick word from you about tomorrow's game.
I think Mumbai is not going to be doing any better than what they did last game, because the T20 lot depends on the opening partnership, and it happened to be your best 2 batsmen, Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan, and they are not firing. And it's going to be extremely difficult. I think Lucknow has got a good attack as well, so it's going to be difficult. I would, if I have to back, I would still back Lucknow tomorrow, because Mumbai is still not if they had at least won against Chennai, and from a seemingly winning position, they lost. That would have really demoralized them even more than what it was. And the sad part is, Unadkat was the guy who scored 16 runs in the last over when he was batted, and he gave away 18 runs when he bowled. So unfortunately, that's a sad truth.
I didn't know how he used up the bowlers' quotas, but the moment you see Unadkat in the last over, then you know that things, it will be difficult with his variety. It will be difficult to check a team.
But again, sorry to interrupt. Again, because the performance is so bad and Rohit is not able to think, he has not used Pollard. In that scenario, Pollard would have been a perfect fit, because if there's one area where he can bowl outside the off stump and keep the runs in a check, probably he would have done it. But Unadkat is again he actually is. In my opinion, he has been a little overrated, because he initially does well in the initial overs and he compensates it by a bad over later. And this is nothing new over the years. Sorry, Sanjay was supposed to say something.
Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah. This Unadkat topic only I was about to tell. He does well in the power play. Occasionally, just give him 1 over, he restricts the batsmen to 2 or 3 runs. In the middle overs, he'll take, for example, 3 overs, he takes 18 runs. And the 4 overs, he'll take it to, and the 4th over, he'll take it to 30 runs or 20 runs. Right away,
No, which is true. We always knew that they don't have the ammunition this time, but Bombay has also created stars in the past. But among the youngsters also, it's only Tilak Verma who has come of age. Ishan,
but Brevis is doing well. Brevis is doing well, so they have a good.
Brevis is doing well. Yes. Brevis is the guy among the overseas players. Certainly, Brevis is doing well. Team David the young, but let us see. I mean, on form, I would say it's difficult to look beyond LSG really tomorrow. If Mumbai manages to pull one back, then nothing like it. For the record.
Sanjay wants to say something before we find up.
And yeah, when you take the RCB's next match and we are facing RR, Butler is in top-notch form. He's going back-to-back 100 and he's on the mark of cleaning Virat Kohli's 973. I think he might go on break and he might not. We are not sure. Tuesday's match is very important for us. If we lose Tuesday at any cost, if RCB loses Tuesday, we'll be hit with NRR and our points will go less, because we'll have 4 losses in the pouch. then we have to win the rest all the games, which is difficult because we have ones against GT also. So Tuesday's match is like a do or die situation for RCB, considering their NRR. They have to somewhere come to minus 0.1, or they have to bring it to plus. Plus is impossible considering RR's bowling and batting lineup both. Just lessen the run rate and come somewhere around to minus 0.1. I want, as if something happens like Satish said told, if Virat doesn't sit, I want him to stand out and play in the RR match, because we haven't seen that vintage Virat. We are missing it. At least in 2021, he performed it. He scored somewhere nearly 470 runs. In 2022, Dhoni scored more than Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, which is literally heartbreaking because like he's 7 years elder to them.
It's an interesting observation.
And they're in top good form. And they're scoring lesser than Dhoni. It's something the first time I'm seeing.
And they have to play the World Cup. Dhoni is not.
True. That's a
true.
very valid observation. We would like you to be back on the show later. So that's it. On that note, I think thank you for joining us. We are a depleted team again today. We don't have Anis Bhai with us, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Straight Bat with Mr. Cricket TV and Gulf News after tomorrow's game. Stay tuned. Till then, good night.